Hi there, I'm Novadev, and today I'll guide you through a basic database management strategy for MySQL. This tutorial is perfect for beginners, especially if you're new to Atavism or database management. We'll use MySQL Workbench, a powerful and user-friendly tool to manage your databases effectively. Here's what you'll learn in this video. How to install MySQL Workbench, logging into your database, and making a basic username and password change to enhance the security of your database. For this tutorial, you'll need your Atavism server set up and your database running. I'll be using the CloudRift server I deployed and configured in my last video. CloudRift offers reliable VPS and dedicated server options for projects of any size. Whether you're testing a concept, developing a project, or running a full-scale production server, their plans provide great value at competitive prices. Don't forget to check the 15% discount code I will drop in the description. Now that we're all set up, let's jump in. For this tutorial, I'm going to be installing MySQL Workbench directly onto the server via Chrome. To do that, I'm just going to go to Chrome, type in MySQL Workbench. I'm going to go with the first option here, MySQL Workbench. Click Download Now. The download that we're going to want to get is going to be the Windows 64 MSI installer. Hit download on that. It's going to ask you if you want to log in or sign up. I'm just going to go below at no thanks. Just start my download. Once that's downloaded, go to my Downloads tab. Run MySQL Workbench installer. Probably close out of these. Once we get onto the wizard, hit next. It's going to show me where it's downloading to. Keep that the same. I'm going to go for a complete install. We're going to hit install. After the installation is complete, you're going to get a message, setup has finished installing MySQL Workbench. I'm going to hit finish with launch MySQL Workbench, and that should open it up. Give it a little bit of time here. Awesome. Okay, we have MySQL Workbench installed and open. Now we have to start adding our connections. To do that, we're going to go to the left where it says MySQL Connections. We're going to hit on the little plus icon. Once we've done that, it's going to ask us to set up a new connection. The first box is going to be connection name. This can be anything you want it to be, whatever you use the server for, or just a description that you're going to be able to identify the connection by. In this case, I'll just put test server. We'll keep our connection method the same, standard TCP IP. Our host name is going to stay the same, 127.0.0.1. Our port 3306. And it's going to ask us for our username. We're going to match up our database username here, which is root, the default. You can hit test connection in the bottom right. It's going to ask us for the password. Punch in test. Hit OK. It's going to give us a connection warning that we're using a non-standard server version. We're going to hit continue anyway. We're going to get a confirmation that we've successfully made the MySQL connection. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And we can go in the bottom right where it says OK. Now our connection will be added with the name that we selected. From here we can right click and click Open Connection. It's going to give us another warning. We're using a non-standard server version or connection protocol. I'm going to hit continue anyway. From here we have full access to our server. For this video, the objective was to change our username and password. So to do that, we're going to go to our management tab. We're going to hit users and privileges. And by default, your page should look like this. There's a handful of root user permissions from different hosts, and Atavism, and MariaDB. For the one that we want to change that we got into, our root test, we're going to want to change this one. There isn't a whole lot of explanation about what these are, but essentially I want to keep it brief. Each user has different roles and privileges for different hosts, so you can get pretty in depth with what people or what users can do if you give them permissions, whether it's specific IPs or whatever. In this case, we're just gonna keep it basic and just change the username and password. But there's a lot you can go through on this. So we're gonna go back to our 127001, which would be our root password. So I'll change this to Nova Dev, and my password's gonna be password. Confirm it below. Password. I'm not sure if I used a capital. Okay, so this is going to be our master server password and username. Now we've got that complete, we can hit apply, and it's successfully changed it. Now for our Atavism tables, it's going to ask us for again login and password. For this one, I'm going to change it to Atavism login, and we'll do new password again. Perfect. Once we made the changes, once we made our changes, we can go ahead and click apply, and now we're good to go. Now, as far as making changes to live databases, I tend to like to do a system restart, just because it closes anything off that's still utilizing it, or you can go ahead and close the individual processes that it's handling. But I find a restart just quicker and easier, so I'll go ahead and restart, and we'll check to see how our changes went. Okay, we've restarted our Cloud Rift server. We've got our Atavism Windows Manager up. We got a little bit of work to do here, changing our configs. So obviously the first one we're going to want to do is change our database username. And I believe if I wrote this down properly, I'm going to put this to Nova Dev and apply. And then our DB password was new password. And we can hit apply. So that's done. We got to go to our server files. I hit logs, go to our Atavism manager. We can go to our bin. We can go to our auth properties, or sorry, our world properties. Okay. And here we can start changing some of our passwords. So this would be the master that we just put in, and that has transferred over to the file. So we have novadev and new password. Now we need to do our individual databases for admin content, world content, and authentication. So to just start from the top here, we don't want to change our database names. This has to stay the same because it's what Atavism looks for the table name. But our DB user is what we changed. So what we're going to want to do here is, I think it was Atavism login. And then our DB is going to be test password. And we're just going to put those in the entire way. So we'll do this one here, Atavism login, and then sorry, not test password, it was new password. So Atavism login, new password, Atavism login, new password. Okay, and we should be good. Okay, with those changed, we go ahead and save our file. It's going to save it. We can close that, and let's start bringing things up here. So close those, MySQL. We'll start that. Okay, perfect. So we're started. Let's go back to MySQL Workbench. We're going to test our new database username and database password. We'll let that load up. All right. So again, this was our existing connection, and it was saved. It was using the old root username. Because we've changed that now, we're going to need to right-click Edit Connection. Once we've done that, we have the same page that we had before, and we'll do the same thing. So novadev was the username I went with. Again, we don't change anything else. This is just the username. And then once we're done that, we can hit Test Connection. It's going to ask us for the password, which is new password. Hit OK. Again, we got that same connection warning. You can click continue anyway. We've successfully made the SQL connection with the new password. So we can go ahead and hit close. You're going to see that our connection under test server now has changed to the new username, which is good. Okay, we can just double check, make sure we can jump into it. Same connection warning. And here we are. So back to where we were. Perfect. So we're happy that our master is working correctly. For this next part, I'm going to jump into our Atavism editor, and we will check our databases and our new passwords there. Alrighty, we're on our Atavism editor with all of our profiles. The profile for the existing server we're working on is named 10.11 for the version that we were making our demo video on. So I'm just going to try and log into it here. We're going to see a lot of red, essentially. All the existing default credentials no longer work. So we need to change those. To do that, we'll go back to our profiles. I'm going to go back to 10.11, hit edit. Get onto our profile page, and now we can start plugging in our new credentials. So our username on this one was Atavism login, and our password was new password. So we can go ahead now, we can hit test connection, and we are running, so we are going to get a successful connection. So we'll go ahead and fill that with the others, and we can go through here and test the other ones. Perfect. All green. Let's try and open it again here. Awesome. So we successfully connected. The only issues I'm having is I actually deleted this folder. And that was the Unity project from my computer. So we're still accessing the database and the server, my CloudRiff server. It's still communicating, but it's not finding the files from the Unity project. So that's the only issues we're seeing. So network side we're good, client side we're not. And as you can see, we have all of our tables and all of our stuff that we can readily play with, change or whatever. So we're good there. So hopefully you've learned how to make your server a little bit more secure. I know this was highly requested, so this is definitely something you want to do to make sure others are not logging into your stuff with default passwords. And I guess, yeah, that's all I got for this one. Thanks.